People won't agree and cunts will hate me for saying this, but growing up is maturing and realising that Andrew Tate was right. Not right about all things, but he told an entire generation of scared, timid, frail young men born into this world of toxic masculinity that it's okay to want to be masculine. Something no one else really had the balls to come out and say. Getting across a very strong message that your life is your responsibility. No one's coming to save you. No one gives a fuck about your upbringing, your health, your job that you're working. Nobody gives a fuck if you're tired, cunt. It was harsh. A lot of things got taken out of context, but it's what a lot of young men needed to hear. That a lot of your problems probably aren't your fault, but it's your responsibility to go out and fix them. And at the beginning, it was this thing of fresh air. You know, his face was everywhere. We all know, you saw him everywhere on the For You page. And at the very beginning, no one agreed with him. Who's this fuckhead? You can't say that in this day and age. But the longer time went on, the more that you actually sat down and listened to the message that he was trying to get across, along with a few rogue comments that not everyone's going to agree with, a lot of us started working harder, taking more risks, not accepting just the bullshit of day-to-day life. Get a hold of us and, oh, we're the victim, poor us. A lot of people took life by the balls. Shit's gonna happen. We started acting more stoic, dealing with our problems, but also coming to those solutions. And the fuck part was, if you voiced that you agreed with some of the things that Andrew Tate said, you're just labelled this fucking misogynist who has no respect for women, when really the message he was trying to get across is that as a man, you should be the one providing for women, working hard for women. It's in our genes. It's the way that we're brought up. And we were entering this epidemic where there were weaker and weaker men. And look, I never agreed with all the things that he said. As I said, some of the stuff was just completely rogue. And that's what left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Because no one was really out there voicing their opinions and saying the things that not many people wanted to say. A lot of the clips that you see where he's, you know, talking disrespectfully about women or this and that were stripped completely out of context from live streams that went for hours and hours long. And look, I'm not sitting here trying to defend Andrew Tate, nor do I give a fuck if you have an opinion on me for agreeing with a lot of the stuff that he said. I remember that time, early 2020, 21, hearing someone come out the way that he did and really preach about being a hard-working man. It completely changed my perspective as a young 17, 18, 19-year-old. Because for a lot of us growing up, we were terrified of saying the wrong things or being disrespectful, because that's just misogyny nowadays. Anything to do with a man working hard and being disciplined, wanting to get in good shape. And I feel like why a lot of young men connected with it wasn't because suddenly millions of young men wanted to just start hating women and they're weak and this and that. He became popular because he was hard to miss, but also because a lot of young men felt spoken to finally. He changed what being a man meant to me. Obviously, in a lot of his clips, he talks about his supercars, you know, all these different girls that he's been with. That wasn't the message that I took away from it. What value I took out of the message that he was trying to get across, and then a lot of people who followed him was trying to get across, was working when you don't feel like it. Keeping and respecting your word as a man. If you're going to say something, you go out and fucking do it. No excuses. Doesn't matter how tired you are. Putting yourself in a position that your family can depend on you. That doesn't mean the mother of your children has to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mum. If she does, awesome, whatever. But as a man, you should feel responsible for being the provider. You should go out there and work hard. We're all dealt shit hands. Health, relationships, shitty jobs, upbringings. We're not all born into this masculine man who has everything at a fingertip, money, resources, whatever it may be. But as a man growing up, you should want to work hard. You should want to retire your parents after everything they've done for you to grow up into an adult. When your dad's put food on the table for you, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be that man for your future family. And as a man, you should be willing to take on the pressure of that. And I know for me, growing up at 23 years old now, born in 2003, a lot of that was disappearing until someone like Andrew Tate came about. You know, even myself, admittedly, like I thought, yeah, it's okay if I'm just like this weak little man who earns a bit of money, gets support from my wife who can work a job too, and we sort of do this together. I thought that was okay. But also, and a lot of you guys can probably relate, having someone like Andrew Tate come out and spread this message of this is what it is to be a man. It's okay to want to be a man, to be a provider, was exactly what myself and a lot of other men needed to hear. And looking back at everything over the last 5-6 years since Andrew Tate took over the internet, I can say positively that it changed the whole direction of my life. Around the exact same time he flooded people's For You pages, I had just started a carpentry apprenticeship. I felt chronically ill with a condition that almost took my life. I felt like the world was out to get me. I was a little pussy. Why me? Why this? The world's unfair. And I was ready to just settle, just to go and get my apprenticeship done, work by the hour, work for someone else, take no responsibility, have a safe wage coming in every week, which by the way is fine. But I was ready at the age of 18 to just throw in the towel and settle for the fact that that's just going to be my life. Even though growing up I had big goals, I knew that when I did become a father, or when I would eventually have a family one day, I wanted to be able to give them them everything that they wanted. But also that was hard. My life was hard. I'd almost died. I'd got sick. So at 18, I'd already given up. And that powerful voice coming out, the voice that a lot of us needed, changed the whole trajectory of my life. And as a bit of a silver lining as well, Andrew Tate was the first person that I guess painted the vision for me for like online business and where the space was going and where the world was going. You know, we're moving into a digital gold rush. And I remember him talking so deeply about, you know, the online world and online business. And it immediately captured my eyes. Like it is like a once in a lifetime thing that although the word that we're moving into is a shit show, have been blessed with, to be able to start businesses online, learn a skill once and provide value to businesses that are already making millions and millions of dollars. And you can take a cut of that just by learning something like sales. And I think even the deeper I get into my journey, the more that I just notice everything that I do now, content creation, marketing, attention, sales, all of that is money. And that's stuff that he used to preach or put into action himself. You guys remember, like, you couldn't get rid of that cunt on your For You page. Attention is the new currency. And if you don't want to put yourself out there and figure out how to get attention yourself, then you can just learn sales and find the guy who's getting the most attention and you'll make money anyway. All these habits and all these behaviors that I hold high standards of myself to live up by every single day were all deeply ingrained in me from the age of 18 or 19 when Tate was blowing up. Yeah, some of the stuff he said was completely rogue and out of pocket, and yeah, I don't agree with all of it. But the whole world that we're still living in to this day of toxic masculinity and bullshit like that has led us into an epidemic of weaker and weaker men where it's okay to make excuses and that the word's out to get me. And yeah, men go through stuff every day. And it's not about not talking about your problems or struggling with mental health, but also having that, I guess, mindset about you that you can get yourself out of it. Not all hope is lost. You can go to others for help. It's okay to speak up as a man. Like, it's not weak to speak as well. But to have that conviction about yourself and respect to your word as a man that, yeah, these are my goals. Maybe I've been dealt a shit hand, but that's just an excuse. I can get myself out of this. I have to be this type of man for the people that depend on me now or for in the future when I do have that family, kids, wife, eventually grandkids, to build generational wealth, to take risks, to do things not many people are willing to do, to go against the grain, against the stereotypes that everyone wants you to do. Yeah, people are going to talk shit, but what, you're going to let that stop you because you're worried about someone else's opinion who's not in the spot you want to be in? As a man, you should strive to be the best version of yourself, to chase the thing that no one else is willing to chase. Not a lot of people will still do it. But for me, as someone who wasn't born into it, someone who was pretty weak-minded, who had been dealt a lot of shit hands, a masculine figure like Andrew Tate 5-6 years ago when I was 17 or 18 years old definitely changed my outlook on life. And obviously, I've put in a lot of work to get to where I am now. I've had to develop these skills and these habits myself. But a lot of the messaging from those early days came from him. And I think that should be okay for people like myself to say that even though he's heavily scrutinized, Andrew Tate was the one to really pave the way and open a lot of our eyes to it's okay to want to be a man who can provide.